Sunday, July 27th. I hate her, 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 I hate her. And this is the whole I hate her, I hate her, I hate her thing. That I have to sew the rags thing until she does that on July 27th, August 31st, September 28th, and then Sunday, October 6th. After all that time I spent sewing it. Basil, Fanny, George, Hector, Ida, Leo, Paul. Why must they always bother me so? Woe is me. Sunday, October 12th. Oh, why can't they just all go to hell? Basil, have a nap on the railroad tracks. Fanny, take a dive off the roof. George, I'll hang you upside down. Hector, get run over by a carriage. Ida, I have some fancy poison jam for you. Leo, walk across a manhole. Paul, get smothered under a great rug. And lastly, that girl. The aristocrats will have their way with her. Oh, how delightful life is. Sunday, October 19th. That wretched girl will do all my dirty work. I'll work her to the bone. I feel wonderful today. Page after October 19th. I'm so worried. I don't know what's going to happen. And then they do the, pictures.
Her becoming a, fairy or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she, flew up and up and up and then crashed.
Yep. That's Amanda's diary.
And Amanda has a weird obsession with making things. Sewing, even.
And she has a weird obsession with trying to be beautiful.
Yes. That actually is shown through,
the opening sequence.
Yes, the opening sequence, but, in January.
I know, I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it too.
Alright.
Found it. Lipstick. Amanda was always more sensitive about her looks than anyone else. One day, she was given a severe scolding by Miss Martha. That's because Miss Martha's lipstick had gone missing. The lipstick was never found, but I know Amanda took it. I've seen her applying it late at night.
So she was very... It was the case syndrome where she was, the bigger, heavy-set girl, and she was picked on by the other kids because she was, different than them. And it was basically that whole thing. I went through that whenever I was a little kid, so I know how she felt. But I never, reacted so crazily as in, oh, I must do this. I must do this. I didn't do that. That was crazy. But, And
there's also the sewing machine in January.
Oh.
Amanda was fond of using the sewing machine. When she got absorbed in something, she'd think of nothing else, especially sewing, which was always on her mind. If we ran out of cloth or thread, she'd just sew rags with an empty needle over and over again, and then she'd smile at the tattered rag with satisfaction.
Yeah.
And, she also, whenever you go and find her in October, Rag Princess Sews, which is all about her for the most part. Someone wants to go get the storybook, you can read it after. Basically tell what I'm trying to say. But, whenever you finally get her, whenever you finally go up to where you found her in the beginning, one of the beginning chapters, I think it's Cloverfield or something like that, where you're on top of the airship, she is beating something, and it's for one still that you can actually see what it is, and it's a doll. And if you've gotten all the broken robots, you'll see what that doll looks like, because you are that doll. That's what the broken robots. That is clearly Jennifer's rendition of a doll. So she hates Jennifer so much. She tries to be her friend, but she hates Jennifer so much that she's there attacking a doll. And actually, if you watch the progression of the little lump thing under the cover that she's sewing, that's the doll. That's her creating the doll, but she wouldn't let you look at it.
I think Amanda, at that point, when she's trying to apologize for having to stick the rat in her face, I think that is before Jennifer is basically upgraded in the Aristocrat Club's eyes above Amanda. Because that chapter, I believe, is the one where the Rose Princess says that she is doing better than Amanda, basically.
Yeah.
Then Amanda becomes jealous, and that's when that starts happening.
So again, it all goes back to Wendy.
Yes,
Yeah.
it all goes back to Wendy. Anyway, here's the Rag Princess storybook, because you wanted it. Once upon a time, there was a girl who sewed rags, day in, day out. The stench of the rags seeped into her clothes. Her stepsisters wore beautiful dresses and went to the ball. The girl stayed at home, and her jealousy festered. One day, a fairy godmother came, cast a spell on the girl, and said, "Sew yourself an ash-grew dress. And then, you can go to the ball like your stepsisters." The fairy godmother apparently looks like a teddy bear. The girl patched together the sooty rags, and that's how she became the Rag Princess. A very stinky princess indeed. She stunk up the whole town, in fact. No girl who stunk so would be allowed into the ball. I'll make that girl wear this awful dress myself. And thus, the Rag Princess and the girl in the rag dress became play pals. And the girl in the rag dress, I believe, is Jennifer.
Hold on. The girl who sewed rags became. That doesn't make sense if this girl in the rag dress was Jennifer, because the Rag Princess is supposed to be the girl in the... This doesn't make sense. Because
This
didn't
isn't
the girl...
right.
And now she became the Rag Princess, and she was wearing the dress.
That's not right.
It's not right. Because technically, that's a developer problem, because they misinterpreted it as two different people. The girl patched together sooty rags, and that's how she became the Rag Princess. The very stinky princess indeed. She stuck up the whole town, in fact, because she was wearing the dress.
Mm-hmm.
But then she said, "I'll make that girl wear this awful dress myself." I think that was Amanda trying to make... I don't know. I'm confused.
It doesn't really make sense. So maybe Amanda put the... Okay. This could actually... That could mean something to do with what Jennifer's already wearing, because remember, it's like an ash gray.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it is.
it could be basically... It could... Yeah, I guess you could say that the girl in the rag dress would be Jennifer,
Yeah.
but there's no way that they would say that they were friends. It's just the fact that the Rag
Well, it
Princess...
said that they became play pals.
Yeah, they were...
You don't have to necessarily like someone to play with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sew yourself an ash gray dress, and then you can go to the ball like your stepsisters. The stepsisters would probably be represented as, Meg, Eleanor, and Diana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones who were high class.
But essentially, Amanda was just used more to make Jennifer feel isolated. The one person who was going to be her friend
Yeah.
was taken away from her by Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wendy noticed that she could actually have a friend, and she was like, "No, I'm not having that."
Right. So, Eleanor's not really... She's kind of
not
that important, really.
She's not
No.
that interesting. She just sits there and is all quiet. And it does say in January that she wanted to fly away. So I guess there was like that little like childhood wonder inside of her, but she really couldn't show it.
I think her story is probably one of the sad ones, is because, she was so cold to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
She was under the pretense where she had to stay cold. She basically, to protect herself, she stayed cold to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
She wouldn't show emotion. She stayed emotionless to protect herself. But whenever... Now see, the whole Bird of Happiness chapter, that bird isn't real.
Yep.
The bird is a fake. It's like a stuffed bird.
Yep.
Like, it's not real, so... That was just her representation of wanting to fly away.
wanting to get away. It could have been wanting to get away from all the basically peer pressure, essentially.
Yeah. And
Things
her
like that.
cage, I think her cage could represent plenty of things. Like her being locked up in a cage, like she's the bird that wants to be free.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like the whole nightingale syndrome going on with her. So
It's a very cliche way to think, but I think that's what it is.
yeah, well, it fits her character. I mean, she's so cold and she protects herself by being cold, but also she wants to fly away. She wants to be away from everything. She doesn't want to be there anymore. I have the feeling sometimes too. I hate the place I'm living in now. I want to move.